Hi guys, it's Roger on Honeybee Ridge. One of the things we're going to be working on today is we're going to cut the rest of the rafters for the pavilion. So in order to do that, I've got my generator out here, but I'm kind of tired of listening to it. So new inverter for the solar charger just came in. So this new inverter is big enough to run any of my equipment that I need to run today. So we're going to change out the old inverter, put the new one in there, get the show rocking. Let's see how we do. The wiring on this inverter is a little bit different than the other one. The actual side of the inverter that the terminal's coming out of, the polarity is switched over. So my wiring is on the wrong side of the box, but I'll fix that later. Right now I'm just trying to just get this inverter put in there and screwed down so we can get some work done today. This inverter is a little bit, physically a little bigger than the old one too, so it'll be a little bit of a challenge getting everything tucked in there. Yep, I see already we have some challenges here. Fix the direction of this. Plug these guys in so we know we got the length on those right. There's where I gotta be. That ain't gonna work. I'll have to get some tools. Well, it's not what I intended, but you know, sometimes things just work out. We'll figure it out. I'm gonna end up completely disassembling this and reversing the location of my battery terminals. So I think that can stay on there. The battery terminals are gonna have to come off. So I've been wanting to do a video about the assembly of one of these, and so I guess this is gonna work out because I am completely disassembling this to redo it, which is fine. Everything happens for a reason. Okay. So, what needs to happen here is I need to reverse the direction of my batteries and not touch those cables together while I'm doing it. I just have this block of wood in the bottom to keep the batteries from jiggling around side to side. Creating that positive down there somewhere so it doesn't short out. Make a big production here. I would rather not set the batteries on fire. Just personal preference there. Alright. Jam that guy down there somewhere. Stay over there. Alright. Put wood back in here. Fits in there kind of nice. So, now we can put the board back in. You're gonna make me take you out, aren't you? Get the DC jack out of the way. And this will go right down. Wires into one of the slots. And just broke off the connector off my, it never frickin' fails. Hello, it's Roger. Good, what's going on today? 556 watt. I mean, ammo or a gun? Gun. I've got a Diamondback that just came in. I've got one that's set up as a shooter, and I've got another one that's got an EOTech on it. Both of those are just under $2 grand. Diamondback is $689. I've got 3 of them. $689, $1,900, and $2,000. No problem. We'll talk to you. Bye. So what I did there just before I got that phone call is I broke the connector off my voltage meter for the batteries. Not a big deal. Just got to solder it back on. Like I was saying about the phone calls, I run a gun shop in the evenings, and I get tons of people calling during the day, and it never fails. They call as soon as I get my hands full. I get my hands full doing a project, and phone rings. It's like it's kind of like clockwork. You can depend on it, but it's a good thing. I mean, it's a good thing we have customers, but I'm only open a couple hours a day, and I get phone calls all day long. So let's find a good spot for this. As close over to that side as I can. Make sure my wiring will still all fit in place. So this is the charge, positive and negative, from the solar charge controller to the batteries. This obviously is the positives from the battery. The negatives from the batteries. And when you first put power to these inverters, it lets off a spark. It just wakes you up. It's not going to do anything. Oh, wait a minute. These don't go to there. Get these jammed back here where they don't interfere with anything. There are two AC plugs back in. That's good enough. I'm gonna have these on here just so I know how much space I got here down at the end, so I don't get them all jammed up and start fraying wires. Okay, there's those guys. So that's about as far down as I can go. Leave enough room in here for my circuit breaker, which is going to go like so. It'll go probably about like that. Let's get one screw in that just so we hold it where it's going to be. Doesn't work, we'll move it. I really could have came down to this next one. Let's see if I can get these over. Yeah, there we go. Beautiful. Nice. Those. Let's see what else we got. This is for the charger. So these, I want this charger to go right there, right here, because I want to be able to charge the battery even with the circuit breaker off. Eventually, in the next version of this, I'll have a positive and negative bus bar, because it kind of makes the wiring look pretty sloppy when you get all this, you know, 4 wires going to the terminals on the inverter. Very careful with my wrench that I'm not touching any of the positive and negative together, because that would be very bad. Give us a nice light show. Here. Good. Normally I would have a socket out here doing this. Be much less chance of touching anything together, but it's 10mm. Where do you think my 10mm socket is? Fucked if I know. I have a good gas. I do have kids. Good. Well, I got this part, roto-rooter this hole a little bit, so it's a little tight. Let's see if that helped me. Should have done this before I stuck the wires through, but whatever. I'll keep the wires safe with my fingers, so if the nice slip, so I'll be going for stitches instead of replacing the wire. That's just how I roll. Close enough. Trying desperately not to drop any of these screws on the ground. This is the connector from the solar panels to charge controller. DC jack. Power positive is on the right. Recrimp the negative connector because I tore that out. Pulling this apart. Usually I'm going to put this positives at the top. Positive is at the bottom. That negative connector. Again. Hi, honey. Yeah. I believe they put it on the porch. All right. Okay. Love you. Bye. Okay, that should about do it. Let's find a location for this. Looks like it'll work just fine. Screw or two in there. good. Let's check out our wiring, see if we get everything right. Put that connector back on there, so fix that later. This little DC connector back on there, so fix that later. Plugged in. Put those down there. Looks good. Okay. Positive battery to the circuit breaker, negative to the bus bar on the inverter. Hot side of the circuit breaker to the positive of the inverter. Charger. Side of the charge controller. To the hot side. Battery charger side of the positive to hot side of the circuit breaker. Yep, I think we're all good. Should be able to turn this baby on and not everything blow up. Here we go. Boom. Alright. Do we have power? We have power. Awesome. 0 watts being drawn. This is a little control panel. Just a little USB. Eventually get this mounted in the system. Nice little control panel, kind of cool. Chinesium. Yep, cool. Looks like we're back in business. Now, here comes the big test. Plug in the extension cord, take a walk down here, see if the circular saw works. Should work great. It's a 3,000 watt inverter. I was running the saw 1,500 watt inverter, so should be good. So that's a wrap on that project. Now we can get started cutting another half of the rafters. Look at that, we got rafters up there. Pretty cool. So this is the whole setup here. All ready to go. This is probably the perfect use for this generator, because the intermittent use of that circular saw, I should be able to run that all day. No problem. 2 solar panels. These are only 100 watt solar panels. If I was going to do this on a more economical scale, I'd put in probably 2 365 watt panels. That would charge this up nice. But that's the whole system. And of course, what's going to happen today, because I'm out here using this, there's not going to be any sun. Just par for the course. But I won't have to listen to the generator all day long. That thing gets annoying. We'll see ya.